Good morning, everyone. So, how are you today? I am Mikey Imbilad, and today we're going to talk about measuring the acquisition of motor and oral skills. But before we proceed to our topic, let's read first the objectives in this lesson. So, we have two objectives. So at the end of the lesson, the students will be able to first explain the two general approaches in measuring the acquisition of motor and oral skills, and next, create an instrument in measuring the acquisition of motor skills. So that's our objectives in this lesson. So, or at the end of the lesson, we're going to obtain these objectives. So measuring the acquisition of motor and oral skills. So already know when we talk about measuring, it means measure. Then the acquisition is to acquire o pagtatamo. So in measuring the acquisition of motor and oral skills, we have these two general approaches. This is according to Gay 1991. So in measuring the acquisition of motor and oral skills in the classroom, there are two general approaches that the teacher can use. So these are the observation of students' performance and evaluation of students' product. So let us first talk about the first approach, the observation of students' performance. So in observation of students' performance, it is the kind of an assessment approach involves the teacher being there while the students are perform the required skills. So in this approach, the teacher keeps a record of each student's performance after observing their work and providing feedback as necessary. So the observation of students' performance can either be holistic or atomistic according to Loisel and Discamp 1992. So what is holistic and atomistic, by the way? So holistic is when the teacher assigns a grade or provides comments based on the pre-established ideas of what an amazing, average, or poor performance looks like. So this is known as holistic observation. While the atomistic observation, on the other hand, or the analytical observation, it is this kind of observation. A task analysis must be carried out in order to pinpoint the key part that contribute the student's performance. So that is holistic and atomistic. So let us now proceed to the second approach, which is the evaluation of students' product. So this is an approach where the teacher can use to evaluate learners' skills proficiency. So for an instance, the projects in many subject areas may be utilized for assessing students' progress, like models, drawings, and construction paper products are example of students' output. So this approach also involves in holistic and atomistic observation, just like the first approach. So in both instances, the students must be made aware of the standards and methods that will be applied to judge their work in evaluating the students' product. So we also have assessing performance through students' portfolio. So the portfolio assessment is a new form of assessing students' performance according to Michelle 1992. So a portfolio is collections of students' work according to Irashan 1994. So it is utilized in the classroom to compile a number of students' performance or products that reflects their success or growth over time. So it contains of carefully chosen example of students' work that illustrate their progress towards some course objectives. So that's the two general approaches in measuring the acquisition of motor and oral skills. So let us now proceed to the tools for measuring acquisition of skills. So we have here two tools. These are rating scale and checklist. In rating scale, it is a list of categories grouped in ascending order of quality. So it can be useful in evaluating abilities, goods, and practices. So we have here an example of rating scales. And next, we have the checklist. So checklist is different from a rating scales in that it identifies items as present or absent. So it essentially a list of standards by which a student's work is to be evaluated. So simply a crossing of the criterion elements that have been satisfied allows you to use the checklist. So another kind of checklist simply includes yes or no answers only. So when the action is completed satisfactorily, the yes is being checked, and when it is not, then the no is checked. So we have here an example of the checklist. And so again, we have in measuring the acquisition of motor skills, we have two general approaches: the observation of students' performance and evaluating the students' product. So that's all for this lesson. I hope that you learned from me, and I'm hoping that you can already create a tools in measuring the acquisition of motor and oral skills. So this is the reference of this topic. So thank you for listening, and God bless.